Hey, I'm back with another fill or rebalance. This would technically be a rebalance because it is for weeks or more. We're just starting right here. We've already prepped and removed and applied our primer. So we're applying our first, our bead of acrylic to fill in and rebalance the nail. The brush I'm using is Greg's signature brush from Young Nails. The product I'm using is Super Nails Clear. This is my second coat of primer. I prime each nail once, and then I go back and right before I apply acrylic, I add the second coat of primer. We're applying the bead of acrylic away from the cuticle, and then we're tucking it toward the cuticle and sidewalls, trying to avoid any seepage or overflow. Now this client has really wide nail beds. She would benefit from a pinch, but excuse me, they're not really wide. They're wider than most typical, in the sense that they have no C curve, they're flat. So she would benefit from a pinch to give her a little bit of C curve, which would also slender her nails more. However, I am a tech that is a perfectionist, so when I move slow, I do not have time to pinch. Excuse me. So I try to be cautious of people's time so that they're not in my chair forever. If I would have pinched, it would have taken a little bit longer because I would have had to stop prior to applying the next nail. And what I mean by that is I could apply the pinky, primed and possibly applied the ring finger, and then I would have had to go back and pinch the pinky. Then I would have had to pinch the ring finger before applying the middle finger. So it can get a little tricky, which is why if you're going to pinch and you're not fast at it, it's not something you've worked into your application process. You need to apply one nail at a time, especially if you're not good with knowing your setting time for your product. And Super Nails with the monomer I use sets pretty quickly. She had quite a bit of lifting on this hand, which is her right hand. So we had to remove quite a bit. She's one of my hard-headed clients that use her nails as tools, but she's done better because she didn't break any, which I'm grateful for. And if you're wondering, I prime with, for my super nails, I typically prime with a dehydrate and I prime with Me a Secret. Then the second prime is Super Nails Primer, which is an acid. So make sure to keep it off of the skin. I always try to re-wet the nail underneath so that blending the fresh acrylic doesn't give you those little solid air bubbles or patches. Eventually, one day when we start her over again or do a silk off, we will try to pinch her to give her that strength. Here we are. She had quite a bit of lifting on this nail, her left hand side, which is a little weird. I don't know what she was doing with it. Um, so I had to remove a lot of it and add a brace, essentially, is what I do. Sometimes. I'm not sure if I added one here or not. We shall see. Looks like I am bracing her. I did brace her. We used some fiberglass to brace her. A little bit of a tedious process when it comes to fiberglass bracing with acrylic. But we made it work. Just make sure you are using eye protective and nose protectant anytime you're using fiberglass. You do not want those particles in your lungs, in your eyes, any of that. There's a bubble in there. She has a little bit of sidewall issues with the way her nails grow out, which is another reason why I said she would benefit from a pinch, adding that C curve to give her a little bit more strength. People don't like C curves, but they really do add strength to your nails. I like C curves. It makes the nail much stronger, especially for clients that they use their nails as tools. But we've gotten to this, it's not aesthetically pleasing. Nobody wants this C curve because they look weird or they look funny. Excuse me. But the truth of it is it really does add strength. Once you see me messing with it, the little thing sticking up is the fiberglass. Now we're priming. And the area that you see on her nail that looks like a bubble is fiberglass. Something that is an issue for me is sometimes, a lot of the times, I pick up beads that are too big. But my thought process too with that is it's easier to remove if you have too much than to pull out your monomer and your powder and add more back. So I'd rather there be too much and I have to remove more than there not be enough and I gotta add some. And a side note, I've noticed educators on like TikTok and Instagram taking people's work and talking about what's wrong with it, this, that, and the third. I really think that's so unprofessional. If you are going to criticize someone's work or you think they might need help, why not reach out to them? It's quite humiliating for a person, especially if you have a large following, that you are talking crap about their work. Everybody started somewhere. And I think we are out here trying to create names for ourselves off the backs of people who are doing the best that they can. And my thought is if their client was happy and they're staying booked and busy, but you want to give them some pointers, then you should be reaching out to them individually, not trying to use their image as a way to point out flaws to other people. Like, if anything, use some of your images from way back when and say that they're your images. All right, we've gotten into the filing process. We're using the 5-in-1 extra fine bit. I prefer extra fine. But I think we're just out here getting a little crazy with it. Like, not everybody comes out swinging and like making great nails and everything's perfect. And every nail won't be perfect. That's how we get people spending longer than they have time to, such as myself, trying to get everything perfect. And this is just me filing the braced nail. Um, anyway, back to the subject. I just really think as an educator, use your own images and no, they're not like putting people's names up. But come on now. There's so many people online that it's not hard to find them. Hey, girl, they using your work. They using your picture. Or at least reach out to the other person and say, hey, do you mind if I use your picture? I just think we're getting a little too shady, shisty and stuff. It's okay to want to educate people about what's wrong with somebody's work, but it doesn't make any sense to be building your following off of somebody else, especially as an educator. I don't think I would want you teaching me. Now, what you saw previously is me add base coat, and what you saw there is me applying a color polish that I mixed together to try and match her picture. But again, back to the educator. I feel like if you don't have students work, and maybe it could have been a student, she didn't say, um, And then this is the D&D polish that she chose as her red. But I feel like if you don't have students' work or your work to critique, then we shouldn't be grabbing someone else's pictures offline and being like, girl, tell me everything she did wrong. Tell me what's wrong with this picture. Now, again, I don't know. She could have said, hey, can you take this picture and critique it for me? That could have been the case. But I'm not saying that we shouldn't be able to take criticism, but criticizing somebody publicly who you don't know whether or not they're struggling. And this is D&D 456 if you wanted to know the color. The nude color I mixed together, so I couldn't even tell you what it was. It was a Whitney and some brown. So I can't even tell you, but it just I guess we're not friendly people anymore, and it's scary. Or maybe, hey, can I use this picture? Here's what I plan on saying. I don't know. Are we teaching free classes? What? I just miss decency and nice people. That's a part of the reason why I don't really talk in my videos. And even if my nail set didn't come out the way I thought it should, like I flooded the cuticles or my shape isn't right, I still post it. I'm human. I have bad days. And nail techs that tell you that they don't have bad days, well, great for them. Because, baby, I have bad days. I have days where the polish is everywhere. I have days where I thought I killed the shape, and when I go back and look at the picture, it is awful. But just to be critiquing somebody's work who may or not have asked for it, and you don't know what kind of day or what their life is like, is nuts. It's just my personal opinion. Like, I do like the saying, if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say nothing at all. When it comes to in public, you can tell people in private what you really thought about something, but in public, I think there's a place and a time. Because people we've become so self-absorbed and so selfish that we don't think about other people's feelings all across the board with a bunch of things. And then I can also agree that we've become too soft too. But like, again, there's a time and a place to say certain things. So that we've become too soft only applies in certain aspects. If you are trying to humiliate someone in public, that is a time and a place thing, and you shouldn't be trying to do that and then expect for them not to cry or be sensitive. That's nuts. Just applying the second coat of polish. I don't know. It could just be because I'm old. I miss the days when we looked out for each other. When we were nice with our neighbors. When we were nice with other people's kids. And didn't have ulterior motives. I miss the days when our kids could play outside and not have to be worried about snatched up. I think it's just I'm old. There's so much hatred going on, and the internet just multiplies it. How about multiplying the love? Show some beautiful things in the world. I don't post my nail content because I'm trying to become an influencer. I post it because I want people to know as a nail tech, we make mistakes too. We're not perfect. We don't get it right every single time, despite what you see on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, Lemons, or whatever else. Um, right now, I'm going in with a white. It's the D&D. I think it's the Snow White. Not really sure what the name of it is. Anyway, just to um, start the pattern. But we don't get it right all the time. And those of us who do, kudos to you. But I've actually seen nail techs that I admire, and I can see imperfections in their work. So no one can sit there and tell you that they are absolutely perfect and you're like, find an imperfection, because we all have them. We all have them. Again, going in with a white line. I just want people to feel comfortable um, about it not being perfect, including myself. We are our hardest critics. And for people to, now I can see if you got somebody who's full of themselves, like, I don't make no mistakes, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But most of us, we want to give our clients the best that we have. And some days that is absolutely hard. So to point out somebody's imperfections in a nail set that pretty much looked amazing, in my opinion. It isn't really, it wasn't necessarily my type of nails. But they looked really good. And now I'm just outlining with the black, well, adding the black lines, that is. I think we get too carried away and too comfortable. And again, that person could have asked for her opinion. I don't know. But I feel like not everybody's opinion is needed or warranted. Like, I know there's people out here that I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that, blah blah blah. Great. But there are a lot of us who want to make sure our clients get the value what they're paying for. This line I added and I had to edit it out. I apologize. It was done with the same brush. Now I'm just going back in and adding the black lines. I know there are days when I've spent hours on clients and the nails don't look the way I want them to. But the client loves it. And I still feel like crap. And it's like, God. But I don't think people take into account that we never want our clients leaving and not being happy. This is the same red we applied to the other nails. And this is why I don't like talking in my videos. I get to ranting. about unnecessary things. But anyway, I can pretty much go through every single nail set that I've ever done and go, I see what's wrong with it. Yep, I see what's wrong with it there. So to have somebody else look at it or use my work to point out flaws to other people is like, ouch. Like, I know. I already know. Thanks for another blow. Then again, here we're finishing up the black lines. Like, if you ask for a commentary, then absolutely okay. But the only way to make things better is to practice, get better by doing more. And when you're starting out building a clientele and practicing, sometimes that's a difficult thing, which is why in one of my other videos I said you may need to buy a cheaper product to work with while maintaining a higher quality product for your clients. That line was so crooked. Now I'm just adding extra black to the little areas that would have created the little dark squares. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I feel like we be out here hurting people's feelings for no reason sometimes. And again, I could just need to mind my own business. Now, the original picture of this design that she gave me, it looked like a foil. The red was darker because obviously you can tell this is a Burberry design, but she chose her own red, as I let all clients do. I'm not going to just go, these are the colors based on your design, because then they may not like the colors I choose. But she chose her own red, and as I was saying, the design she showed me, I believe, was a foil. So I had to hand paint these lines based off of what I saw on these foils, which is why you saw me do both ring fingers. She did want them matte, and the matte I use is Velvet by American Nails. Mine might be a little old because it didn't matte the same way that it typically does. It did look matte, but I'm a little concerned. But anyway, it's more of the velvet matte versus, I guess, what they call the satin matte that has a sheen, a small sheen. Excuse me. But you'll get to see. It typically, I wipe it off and it works very well. versus they also have a matte that gives you that satin type finish, and that's what I typically use for my chrome. This is me just top coating this nail because it was shiny, of course, while everything else was matte. And when I was speaking about wide nail beds, what I mean is in relation to nail bed in relation to side walls of the fingers. The nail bed doesn't physically have to be wide. I look at the proportion of the skin that sits outside of the sidewall in comparison to the nail bed, which tells me their nail beds are a little on the wider side versus longer, slender, yada yada blah blah blah. And as you can see, some of that color is coming off in my brush. It's more likely from the inhibition layer, but I do wipe the nails off to remove that layer. Also my brush as well, because we do not want to contaminate our top coat, making it pink. I know YouTube has everybody believing that nails are perfect all the time, every single time. That is not the case. And they only have you believing that beginners make awful mistakes. Not the case. We all do. All of us. Now, whether or not it's a big mistake or a little mistake, now that's the difference, but whatever. And this is just the basic hand massage that I do for everybody. Of course, with a matte coat, you gotta wipe the nails off. And we put the oil on. And then we go in and we wipe them nails. Because we do not want matte nails being oily, greasy, shiny. There you go. See, everybody tries to avoid putting oil and lotion on matte nails. Baby, I just wipe them off. That's what I do. I just wipe them off, baby. Because they need that hydration. So I just wipe the nails back off. Anyway, there's the set. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.